fully in place, locked and loaded should North Korea act unwisely. Hopefully Kim Jong-un will find another path. Well, we're going to bring in right now the host of Justice, Judge Jeanine Pirro, to respond this morning. Judge, what do you make? He's almost tripling down. It was fire and fury, and then he said maybe it wasn't strong enough this morning. We're locked and loaded.
I like it. I do. I think that when you're dealing with a bully, you have to let him know that we're locked and loaded. We're the strongest military power in the world. We're ready to go, you lunatic. But what I also liked is that the president also talked about what he would like, and that is de-nuking the world. China, Pakistan,
I think North Korea.
Yeah, short of yeah, right.
And Iran.
And I think that kind of counterbalances a bit. But at the same time, you've got to be tough with this. Now, China entering the fray is like there's a new thing going on now where China says if either of you goes first, I'm going to go after the one who goes first. So I think in the end, China, as much as we think they're not helping us, may have helped us in all of this.
Right. I think he said, apparently China said if North Korea goes first, we're going to be neutral.
Okay, if North Korea goes first, they'll be neutral. But they indicated that they don't want any problems on the Korean Peninsula. And that is certainly in their interest. But I think that if North Korea goes first, it'll be wiped out by us.
I'm curious to find out what people on the streets think, because I love when you go on the streets and you ask the people questions. Did you ask them about this?
You know, it was amazing. People were saying, you know, I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think it's a real threat. I think that, you know, he's just crazy. And I said, well, what do we do? Wait for him to strike first and suffer the loss? I mean, we should have the ability to be able to go after him first and block him.
And we have the ability to bring a clip.
Yeah,
we've got it.
Take a look.
Are you worried about nuclear war?
Not necessarily. I trust the president. I trust what he's doing. You know, I trust who he's put in positions, generals, stuff like that, so not necessarily.
You gotta hit back, even though war isn't always great, but we can't stand for, you know, dictatorships and stuff like that.
You can't have war. You gotta go with the peace. You gotta go diplomatic. You gotta do something. We gotta do as much as we can before we do anything with war.
I think it's quite frankly irresponsible to contribute to this kind of rhetoric, Jeanine.
You do?
I do.
Good. Well, I'm glad you know more than the military does.
I'm glad that you're aggrandizing the situation. I think.
No, I'm not.
I think you most certainly are. Look,
aggrandizing?
We'll have to tune in this weekend to find out how that ends up.
Yeah, no, but there were a lot of people who said, look, this guy is dangerous. We have to deal with it. And we all know the reason this guy has a nuclear weapon is because, you know, everyone was appeasing him from Clinton on down. And that's a problem.
Yeah, we have to stand up. We're going to look back 20 years from now and said that was our moment when we could have, and the situation's only gotten worse.
If we don't act, then it gets worse. We're not going to be here to act.
Yeah. Now, in the state of Michigan, there's a law now on the books where if you want to be a foster parent, you can't have a concealed weapons permit and you can't carry a gun. Is the state allowed to tell them that? Because the Constitution protects individuals and allows them to do
Let me tell you something. This condition is going down as quickly as, you know, the rain when it falls. You cannot say to a foster parent, you do not have the right to have a concealed weapon. We're going to deny you your Second Amendment right because you want to be a foster parent. And think about how insane this is. It was the state that asked these grandparents to be foster parents. It was the state that asked that situation. You know, you cannot take someone's Second Amendment rights from them. It's almost like saying, you know what, we can take your First Amendment rights from you if you have a foster child who's a snowflake and it might offend him. The Second Amendment is no less significant than the First Amendment. We don't take that away, and we can't take this away. It's discrimination.
When you talk about the grandparents, we interviewed some grandparents earlier on the show, and the state asked them to take their grandson. They did, and the guy is an ex-Marine. He was injured, so he feels safer with his gun. Listen to what he said.
Every time we went, it seemed like they got put more and more restrictions on everything. At first, it was like, oh, yeah, you can have them. You just got to keep them locked up. And then it was, well, you can't carry at all as long as he's in your home.
In the Marine Corps, I was highly trained in the use of firearms. So my grandson's safer with me being armed than not armed.
I believe that every child should have a safe and loving home to which they can grow up in. In the same thought, I don't think that we should have to give up our own personal liberties, rights, and freedoms.
I mean, what they're saying sounds like absolute common sense.
Well, it's an unconstitutional ban on foster parents, especially ridiculous where you have a Marine who's had weapons from the time he said he was 5 years old, and the state asked him to intervene and take the child.
And what about the child? The child's now not with the grandparents.
Right, and now with a stranger. I mean, this is the lunacy that's going on.
The mom, who they say is not fit, but they say that the state's retaliated.
That right now, they took the child away from the mother because the mother was not capable of raising the child. They asked a grandparent to step in, and now they're saying, no, we're going to give it back to the person we thought.
But you think this is going to be temporary in that state? They got to turn it around.
Without a doubt, as sure as I'm sitting here, you do not deny someone's Second Amendment rights because they choose to be foster parents.
All right.
Period.
Judge, we'll be watching you this weekend.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah, lots to talk about.
Ohio Congressman, I love it when you're on. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan keeping the fight alive to repeal and replace Obamacare. Up next, he joins us live with the plan to rally Republicans.
To motivate him to get something done, or has he just had it up to here with him?
You know, Steve, I don't know what's in the president's head. All I know is that the president is absolutely right. First of all, there's two Mitch McConnells. There's Mitch McConnell, the politician. That's the guy who managed to keep open the Supreme Court vacancy so Gorsuch could be nominated and put onto the bench, onto the high court by the president of the United States. So McConnell was brilliant as a politician. As a lawmaker, though, he stinks. And how dare he criticize the president of the United States for the failure of repeal and replace when it was in McConnell's court for 7.5 years. He was absolutely incompetent. He never put together a reasonable bill that would satisfy the GOP. He lost his own allies, and now he's blaming the president. How much longer do the American people have to wait if the Republicans really have a reasonable substitute for Obamacare? Where the hell was it? And to put down the president is absolutely right to be impatient, to have it up to here with Mitch McConnell.
Especially, Geraldo, while he's on vacation. You know, the senators are taking a break right now.
The president hasn't decided whether or not he wants to fire Mitch McConnell, but Geraldo has. Geraldo wants him out.
I think the boss has absolutely all the right in the world to be his patience exhausted with all of the rhetoric and baloney, repeal and replace. We heard it.
Yeah, but he needs him right now. He needs him.
Well, he needs the GOP, but Mitch McConnell has to understand that we can now see that this emperor of the United States Senate is wearing no clothes. He's full of bluster. We're going to repeal and replace, and then he didn't think, hey, wait a second, maybe I should get like 30 smart guys, women and men together, and they, formulate a plan that's acceptable to the Tea Party guys and the Freedom Caucus guys and the Susan Collins in Maine and this one and that one. I mean, they had 7.5 years to come up with a Republican solution to giving health care to the American people, and they utterly failed. And now to say that the President of the United States was naive or inexperienced, and that was what the problem was, I think that really, Steve, to me, that goes beyond the pale. You stab the boss in the back. I think that
it's also
Mitch McConnell right now better be wondering, what the best thing Mitch McConnell has going is that his wife is a very effective member of the president's cabinet.
It's also very tone deaf because you talk to any grassroots conservative across America today, they don't blame President Trump for that. They blame Mitch McConnell. Does he not understand that will hurt him in the midterms as well?
Well, I think that the fact that there's all this division and that McConnell could not deliver a united GOP caucus, I think what it does, the silver lining, and I know many of our viewers don't like to hear me say this, but I really do believe that now's the time. Listen, there's plenty of problems with Obamacare that need to be fixed. Call it Obama-Trump care or Trump-Obamacare or Trump care, I don't care what you call it, but it'd be nice to see the middle of both parties get together, 60, 65, 70 United States senators, suggesting something for the good, a bipartisan approach for the good of the American people. I miss that. I long for that. I know it's naive, and I'm old, and I'm remembering back to a simpler dial-up telephones and party lines. But
you said it, not us.
Geraldo, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us from your new
Fire and fury. President Trump doubling down on his warning to North Korea.
He does something in Guam, it will be an event the likes of which nobody's seen before. It's not a dare, it's a statement.
Clearly,
The president is totally fed up.
And I'm very, very glad to see the president and Secretary Mattis standing up strongly to these threats, and we are prepared. There are military options that are on the table.
A federal judge is ordering the State Department to search its server for emails from key Hillary Clinton aides related to the Benghazi attack.
President Trump waging a war on opioids.
The opioid crisis is an emergency. It's a national emergency.
He helped a lot the other day by pointing out that prevention is key. Because if we don't get this before it happens, getting addicts off of it is hugely difficult.
President Trump calling out the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
I just want him to get repeal and replace done. I've been hearing repeal and replace now for 7 years.
Donald Trump is going to make America great again. We're going to help him do that, and that's what Congress is there for.